Right, so prepare to snatch the bouquet out your best friend's hands because today we're doing an Am I the A-hole wedding edition. So let's just jump straight into it. All right, first up, am I the a-hole for getting engaged after my brother's wedding? So my brother and his now wife got married 3 days ago. It was a very small destination ceremony with under 15 people total. My now fiancé and I extended our trip after everyone went home and spent a couple of days exploring the Grand Canyon, a couple of hours north of the wedding, where he proposed. When I shared the news with my brother and now sister-in-law, he responded with hostility, saying that it looked like we were competing. I apologized, quickly realizing that he was advocating for my sister-in-law and that she felt hurt, although I'm truly failing to understand why. I also texted her a separate apology and explained that it was not our intent to encroach and just wanted to share the news with family and that it's my belief that there's room for happiness for everyone. She did not respond. In response to my apology, my brother doubled down and said the timing and location were hurtful and that we shouldn't have planned it around the wedding. So are they the a-hole? I mean, I can't imagine being in the brother's shoes and being like, it's finally my wedding. We've been looking forward to this for a year or two, or maybe even more. And it's finally all about me and my wife. And I'm enjoying it. And we've just had the wedding and now we're newlyweds. And like, just 3 days after the wedding, finding out that your sister is now engaged and being like, oh, damn, I'm no longer the center of attention anymore. And so I can understand a little bit of natural, like, disappointment, I guess, but maybe not hostility and definitely not like, oh, we're competing against each other. Also, I know America is a much bigger place, so that'll probably factor in. But to me, a couple of hours north away, that is a very, very big distance. To me, as someone who, I mean, lives in England, but also grew up in Jersey, which is an island that is literally 9 by 4 miles. So I'm trying to factor in that a couple of hours north is potentially less of a big scale for someone in America than it is for me. But still, that feels like far away enough to be like, okay, I'm outside of your boundary, I'm outside of your zone. The place where you got married and the place where I got proposed to are not the same place anymore. So yeah, I can understand naturally being like, damn, we're not the center of attention anymore, but being hostile or even giving her the cold shoulder, unnecessary in my opinion. What do the comments say? Not the a-hole. I can see you're trying valiantly to understand, but I'm not sure your brother or his wife will be able to give you a good reason for their reaction, because their reaction is wild. Sure, it's rude to propose at someone else's wedding, but that's not what happened. The fact that you and your fiancé got engaged a few days after their wedding, before you flew home, is a totally different thing. Also, the level of hostility in that message from your brother is nasty and definitely not normal. I'm so sorry he treats you like that. Oh, they've put in an edit, paraphrased some direct quotes and removed some potentially identifier information. So we've lost out on the message that was hostile here. But I mean, we were told it was hostile and I was like, oh, I think that's unnecessary. This commenter is saying the level of hostility in the message is nasty and not normal. And that is the top comment. So it must have been a pretty extreme overreaction. It sounds like it was the day after, and I don't know. If I was on the first day of my honeymoon and instead of fully enjoying my newlywed bubble, my sibling texted me not to tell me that they hope I'm enjoying my honeymoon or congratulations on my marriage, but that they're engaged. And instead of them congratulating me on my marriage, they're trying to get me to congratulate them on their engagement. I don't know that I'd be the most thrilled in the world. But also, I don't have a good relationship with my siblings, and that would inform how I felt about it. I don't think reaching out to someone who is that freshly married to tell them your good news is the most tactful thing in the world. At least wait a few days so they can have their newlywed bubble for a bit. Damn, and that got 5,200 downvotes! And 8 white poop Reddit emoji things. I mean, yeah, I think the relationship with your sibling will affect massively how you read this thing. Because, like, I have a really good relationship with all of my siblings. So I'd find it hard to not be super happy and psyched for them. And I feel like I probably would have had enough attention at the wedding and the reception and all that. But yeah, evidently people that don't have such good relationships with their siblings might feel different. But yeah, the wedding's passed, the time is different, the location's different. There definitely just isn't a sufficient issue there by itself. Not the a-hole. Your brother needs to calm down. The bride gets a day, her one wedding day. She does not get a location, a week, or anything else. She gets her wedding, that's all. You did not encroach. They own neither the weekend nor the state, not the a-hole at all. I'm petty, so I'd tell them I'm sorry their joy at wedding the love of their life is overpowered by jealousy of your engagement. Like, shouldn't they have more important shit going on? So yeah, disappointed initial reaction, I might have been able to understand slightly, but hostile reaction, can't understand. And the fact that he doubled down, that seals the deal for me. You are not the a-hole. Although actually, his reaction doesn't change that. I just realized that there's a bit of an overlap with the Am I Overreacting there. He's definitely overreacting, but you're not the a-hole regardless of his reaction. And as usual, we're going to keep score, so it is currently 1-0 to the not the a-holes. All right, next up. Am I the a-hole for not letting my mum come to my wedding after she ignored me my whole life. So I, a 26-year-old guy, am getting married to my fiancée, let's call her Sarah, a 25-year-old woman, in a few months, and I'm super excited about it. But there's one big issue with all the planning. My mum. One of the coolest things I've ever said. A little background. My parents divorced when I was 8, and my mum, let's call her Layla, remarried pretty quickly after that. She married this guy, Dave, who had 2 kids of his own. Ever since, it's like I was no longer a priority in her life. She focused all her attention on Dave and his kids. Like, I'm not exaggerating when I say she treated them way better than me. They'd go on trips, she'd go to all of their sports events, and they'd get everything they wanted. Meanwhile, I felt like I was invisible. She didn't ask about my school, didn't care about my friends, or even my mental health. I started to feel like I wasn't even her kid anymore. When I turned 18, I moved out. I thought maybe she'd care and try and stay in touch, but no, she didn't. I text her once in a while just to check in, and she'd either not respond or say she was busy with Dave and his kids. I figured if she didn't care, why would I? So I just stopped trying to reach out. Well, fast forward to now, I'm planning my wedding, and out of nowhere, my mum starts texting me like we're super close. She wants to know all the details, saying how excited she is, and even saying things like, I can't wait to see you start this new chapter. Like, seriously, I haven't heard from her in years, and now she expects to be front and centre for my wedding. I told her straight up that I didn't want her there. I said I'm not comfortable with her coming after everything that's happened, and that if she really wants to have a relationship, we can talk about it after the wedding, but not before. She started crying and saying I'm holding a grudge, and that I'm her son, and that she deserves to be there. But I don't know how I'm supposed to just forget the fact that she ignored my whole childhood in favour of Dave's kids. Now my family is split. Some of them think I'm right and that I shouldn't just let her show up when she never showed up for me. But others think I should just let it go, and it's just one day, and then I should let her come to the wedding to keep the peace. So am I the a-hole for not letting my mum come to my wedding after everything that happened? I mean, right off the rip, not gonna lie, the M-dashes aroused suspicion at the start, but this whole thing is a bit convenient and clean. But to be fair, similar situations like this do arise in reality, and we've definitely seen similar ones, so let's treat it as real just for fun. I mean, first of all, you've got to say the classic, the wedding day is all about you. No one deserves to be there. No one has a right to be there. You can just invite whoever you want. If you don't want her there and you're not comfortable with having her there, don't have her there. And stuff like that applies in a lot of wedding situations. And yeah, that's just everyone. Someone that basically abandoned you when you were 10 years old definitely has even less of a claim to have a right to be there. I do think if I was in this person's situation or this chatbot situation, or any real person who's in a real similar situation, I just would have in the back of my mind, like, what happens if my mum and I get over this issue and we become really close again? And then I'm like, damn, my mum wasn't at my wedding. She wanted to be, she could have been, but the only reason she wasn't was because I said I didn't want her there. I think I'd be really worried about regretting that at some point in the future. But I also think you'd always be able to look back and go, well, at the time, I just didn't feel like she deserved to be there. And I think if you give it enough thought and arrive at the conclusion that you don't want them there, you're not comfortable with them there, you should be able to, like future you should be able to go, you know what? I've got to find peace with this decision. It was what I thought was best at the time. I didn't rush it. It wasn't a decision made in the heat of the moment. I took my time, I considered it, and I decided at the time that I just didn't want them at my wedding. And if they find their way back into my life at some point, we're both just going to have to live with that. All right, what do the comments say? She started crying and saying I'm holding a grudge and that I'm her son and she deserved to be there. And you're her son, who deserved to have a mother that cared and prioritized you at least occasionally. But here you are. You're well within your rights to hold that grudge until you feel comfortable letting her back in your life, which is not now. Others think I should just let it go and it's just one day and that I should let her come to the wedding to keep the peace. I hate this sentiment with a passion. What peace? You would not be at peace if you had your mum at your wedding. Childhood neglect is not something you forgive and forget for most people, especially when you've come to terms with not having a relationship with your parents. She doesn't get to waltz back in to ruin what's supposedly one of the happiest days of your life. Not the a-hole. Well said. And yeah, the whole peace thing, like, that is the whole point in the whole, oh, it's your wedding. All that matters is you and your partner on that day. Family beef, family ties, all that kind of stuff. How sad people are going to be or annoyed that they weren't invited. It doesn't come before you and your partner having a great time. It's your day. Celebrate it with people who you want to celebrate it with. Not the a-hole, mate. I say stick to your guns. End of the day, it's yours and your fiance's decision who comes. If she supports your decision, then you have your answer. Congrats on the wedding. Too right. And therefore, I think another pretty obvious not the a-hole. So the NTAs are up 2-0. All right, next up. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my niece our dog's room? Already sounding a little bit like a yes. All right, so for the past month, my 24-year-old niece has been living with us. I'll call her Princess because that's what her parents call her most of the time. Already detecting a hint of resentment here. She's a medical researcher, studied medicine, but wasn't interested in the practical side of things, more interested in the theoretical, and took up a position near where we live, and my sister convinced me to let her stay so she can save money. I was apprehensive because I know this girl has been coddled and babied since she was little. A bit more resentment. So we have a 4-bedroom house. Nice. Me and my husband, my son, who's 16, my daughter, who's 21, and our 4-year-old Rottweiler, Freddie. I told sister that Princess would have to sleep on the sofa in the living room, which she seemed okay with, but when she arrived, both mother and daughter set about trying to convince me to clear out the dog's room and let her sleep in it. Princess even said it would be okay to make him sleep outside because it's just a dog. It's getting a lot colder now, and I'd never let Freddie sleep outside. Okay, starting to think you're an asshole for not clearing out the dog's room and making her sleep on the sofa, but starting to think that she's an asshole for being like, cast the dog outside. Can't you not just bunk up with the dog? Can't you not just share the room with Freddie? Or maybe moving the dog's bed to the sitting room? Is that such a big deal? I told Princess that this is where she'd sleep, take it or leave it, and she was and still is really sulky about it. Sulky about how we think the dog is more important than her, which is kind of valid. In all honesty, I was right in thinking having Princess stay is more trouble than it's worth. She goes out clubbing and partying a lot and makes no effort to keep the noise down when she comes home in the early hours of the morning. Since she's arrived, the living room smells of weed, and that smell definitely wasn't there before she came. Yeah, disrespectful from her. This just not liking anyone here other than Freddie. She's also rude to my kids. My daughter got engaged and we were all delighted, but Princess was lovely enough to say that if her boyfriend had gotten her a cheap ring like that, she wouldn't even get out of bed for the wedding. Daughter was in tears because of this, and both husband and I had a word with Princess, who then cried and phoned up her mother, saying we were rude to her. I had another call with my sister today, and she still tried to convince me to put her daughter in the dog's room. I made clear this wasn't happening, and my sister got upset with me, saying how nasty it was to value pets over family. I also said that her daughter was skating on thin ice, and that I wouldn't tolerate her behaviour for much longer. My sister was very offended and said we should be happy to have her daughter there. Sorry, but how can I be happy to have a spoiled, overgrown child who keeps trying to steal a room from a dog in my home? The sister sucks as well. How is the pet is very much part of the family. I mean, the niece is a nightmare, the sister's a nightmare, and this woman is a nightmare. There's no way if my dog had its own room in a 4-bedroom house and a member of my family was living with me, that I'd be like, no, you're sleeping on the sofa and my dog is keeping the room entirely to themselves. Also, if I'm staying at my auntie's house, I'm not coming in after clubbing in the early hours of the morning and crashing around everywhere and smoking weed either in the sitting room or somewhere in close proximity, or coming back stinking weed and making the place smell of it. I'd also feel bad staying there for a month or longer. I'd be like, oh my goodness, I should at least be paying rent, helping out, doing something. I mean, she might be paying some rent, but she's saving money, so it can't be as much as rent would be. It just sounds like everybody sucks in this scenario apart from the dog. But okay, there's an edit here, so a lot of replies here who don't seem to understand the situation. I mean, might be due to your communication skills, but okay. I won't say too much, as apparently arguing gets you banned from here. Firstly, to the people who have claimed I was acting snobby about Princess's job, that wasn't the case. I wasn't saying that she was more interested in the theoretical side of things so that I could say, oh, she's only a researcher. On the contrary, I specifically mentioned that she studied medicine so that people understood that she has a well-paid job in a selective intellectual field and wasn't some lab assistant or something like that. Okay, I was almost with you until you threw shade at lab assistants. To be fair, I wasn't picking up on the snobbiness, but I can understand why people might have been. Anyway, she earns enough that she could afford a place of her own if she wanted. She just wanted more money to herself. I mean, you're making it sound quite selfish, but if she's willing to sleep on a sofa to save up a bit of money, must be quite important to her. Also, in the current economic climate, I'm inclined to believe that she has good reasons to need to save, and that life might not be so easy if she was paying full rent living by herself. Anyway, let's continue. Also, the people who claim that I was being nasty to her because I didn't like her and things like that, I don't dislike her at all. I was apprehensive about having her because, having known her since she was born, I've seen many of her tantrums and seen her parents give in to them over and over again, even into her adulthood. I was worried about how things would turn out since we wouldn't give in to her demands. She's tried to pick on both my children when she was a teenager, and we went through a period a few years back when my daughter refused to visit their home because Princess constantly bullied her. And to be fair, kind of did bully her about the ring as well. So that's a valid concern. I mean, the tone definitely reads like you don't like her or that there's a bit of hostility and resentment there. So I don't know about that one. And regarding the dog's room, there isn't any furniture in Freddie's room that a 24-year-old woman could comfortably sleep on. And we weren't about to go and buy furniture since we didn't know how long she'd be staying. Okay, that's fine, I guess, but it kind of sounds like you're saying, no, you can't have the room rather than, I mean, you can, but there's nothing really to sleep on in there. I mean, would you be fine if she bought a Bach mattress and a sleeping bag? I mean, the whole, I told Princess that this is where she'd sleep, take it or leave it, kind of sounds like you're not open to letting her stay in the dog's room if they can sort out the issues that you claim as stopping you allowing her to. And for those who think I was trying my best to make her uncomfortable, not at all. We tried our best to make her feel welcome. We gave her food, and while she brought more than enough clothes for home, I went clothes shopping for her and was happy to pay out of my own pocket. Within her first week here, Princess couldn't stop laughing when my daughter told her what she did for a living, hairdresser, said that Freddie should sleep outside, and shouted at my husband because he hadn't cooked dinner quickly enough. So you can't blame all this on me. I mean, it's not a binary choice, to be fair. It's not like you can't both be assholes. It's sounding very much like you are. Regarding the weed and clubbing thing, I've nothing against weed use. I've smoked it a few times as a teenager, as did my husband, and I'm 99% sure my kids have both done it at some point. But the fact is that it's completely illegal in this country. If she was doing it away from the house, I would not care at all. I wouldn't even have too much of a problem if she was smoking it outside, but it's obvious from the strong smell that she's smoking it in the house. I'm well aware that going out clubbing and making noise is what most people her age do. However, this particular 24-year-old doesn't bother to take our high heels off when she comes in, and we have a wooden floor that we can hear her stomping around in them, which wakes us all up. I mean, yeah, smoking weed in someone else's house, coming in high heels, making a racket, that's terrible from her, but that doesn't exonerate you from being an asshole. Last but not least, I didn't call her Princess on here offensively. I wasn't going to put her real name on here, obviously, and the fact is her parents genuinely do nickname her Princess most of the time, and she doesn't mind it when they call her it. And I mean, you can tell why. She definitely just is a spoiled brat, isn't she? And I can't lie, if someone was doing all this in my home, I'd be like, I don't really want you here either. But I still wouldn't be like, there is a spare bedroom, but that's the dog's bedroom, and you're not staying in it. So I think OP and Princess are just both a-holes. What do the comments say? Everyone sucks here. The kid is clearly a brat, but you're also a pretty terrible host for leaving a dog a room and making your guests sleep on the sofa. No matter who they are, that's incredibly rude on your part. She's right to be offended. Everyone sucks here. Obviously your niece is being incredibly rude, but I don't understand why you couldn't give her the dog's room for her stay. Why didn't the dog sleep in the living room? You can't use she's being a brat as an excuse when you made the decision before she moved in. Who gives a dog an entire room? Yeah, I mean, even if you had a spare room, is there nothing better you can think of to do with that room than give it to your dog? Home gym, home office, games room, a shrine dedicated to the Arthur Frederick channel. All valid things to do with a spare room. Giving it to a dog is crazy. I'm not going to judge that much as their home. If your dog means that much to you and you want to give them a little room, go for it. But I do think if you then become a host and you're like, that's the dog's room, you can't have it, I'm going to start judging you again. By the way, you don't have to dedicate an entire room in your house as a shrine to the channel. All that I would actually ask for you is that you'd hit the subscribe button. If you're enjoying these videos and you want more Am I the A-hole videos, hit that subscribe button. You can catch them. And I'd also really appreciate it because it means a lot. It's like the best form of currency you can give this video if you like it, if that makes sense. Like it's better than a like, generally. So yeah, if you're enjoying it and you want to see more, please do subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next one. Anyway, everyone sucks here. Yeah, that girl would have her ass out the door for half the crap she's been pulling. But it is pretty weird to give a dog a room over a human guest. But it's always been the dog's room. And because it's the dog's room, it's likely that there might not be much human furniture there. No bed or desk. Maybe just a dog bed and a small human sofa, for example. So OP would likely have to reorganize the room and buy new furniture just for this guest, who had originally agreed to the sofa bed. Dogs don't have rooms. What the fuck am I even reading? Welcome to Reddit. I mean, again, yeah, if I was Princess, I'd just be like, listen, you don't have to do anything. Don't need any rearranging. Let me buy out of my own pocket because I'm saving loads of money on rent from living here. Let me buy a little Bach bed and either a duvet and a pillow or a sleeping bag, and I'll be fine. And maybe not everyone would want to, but I'd so be down to share the room with the Rottweiler. Anyway, congratulations, OP. You've pulled one back for the a-holes, because you most certainly are one. Which leaves us 2-1 up to the not the a-holes. Can the a-holes claw another one back? Let's find out. Am I the a-hole for refusing to have a fully child-free wedding? Why fully? Okay, so I recently proposed to my long-term girlfriend. Congratulations. And we're planning for a wedding in summer next year. Everything is still at very early stages. My fiancée has expressed that she wants a child-free wedding, which I'm all down for, but I want to make one exception. My son, a 15-year-old. I had him from a previous relationship and we've evenly split custody of him. Surely this isn't going where I'm thinking, right? Until now, my fiancée has gotten along great with him. We've had days out as a family, she's gone to see his games, he plays ice hockey, and she's even taken him out on fun days, just the two of them. I brought up that I wanted to make an exception to the no kids rule for my son, and she shot the idea down straight away and said that she didn't want anyone under 16 there, and she doesn't want to feel like she or anyone else has to babysit on her special day. It's your partner's child and you're getting married. What the? I told her that no one would have to babysit him. He's 15 and she knows he's well behaved and generally a quiet kid. She then changed her reasoning and asked why I wanted my old family in life on the day I was supposed to be making a commitment to her and our new family. I told her while I'd be making a commitment to her, my son would still very much be my son and my family. As if he's going to just leave his son in the past. Like the second he gets married, he's just going to click his fingers and he's going to go, right, from now on, I'm leaving all that in the past. I'm leaving all my troubles behind. That includes you, boy. And the son's just like, what the fuck? What? And yeah, that just means that whole thing was a front. She doesn't care about someone having to babysit or something. She's there like, oh, I'm so jealous of your past relationships. I don't want any reminder that you've ever even had them, especially not in the form of a child, even if it's your child. How bizarre. She then equated it to wanting my ex at our wedding, which I do not and have never asked. I told her that I don't care about the aesthetics of the wedding and that she can pick everything else, the food, the aesthetic, the music, the dress, but all I want is my family at the wedding. My parents, my sisters, and my son. That is my only ultimatum when it comes to our wedding. She started calling me controlling by giving me an ultimatum and said I had initially agreed to a child-free wedding and now I'm gaslighting her. I said we can have a mainly child-free wedding, but with this one exception, an exception that guests can't even complain about being unfair since the only child is the son of the groom. She called me a dick and is now not talking to me. I really think this is a reasonable want, but maybe I'm not seeing something. So am I the a-hole? No. If this happened to me, I would strongly reconsider getting married to this person. They want you to just abandon your child as a part of your previous life. From the moment you get married, that is just nuts. The woman is deeply insecure and has some serious issues. And if she can't see that, that is so troubling. What do the comments say? Wow, wow, wow. She doesn't want your own child to come to your own wedding. And not a crying baby or a terrible two, but a 15-year-old. A kid that will be old enough to drive next year when the wedding is. If this goes on as she wants, do you think your kid won't remember? Yeah, I'm sorry, bud. This is all kinds of evil stepmother red flags. The whole thing about you making a new commitment to her and her family and equating having your son there to having your ex-wife there. Dude, get out now while you just have to eat the non-refundable deposits for the wedding. Save yourself and your kid a world of hurt. You would be the a-hole if you married this woman. Edit to add, you've never had a fight like this before because up to this point, she's been putting on a show. But now she's comfortable enough in the relationship to show you who she really is. So true. What an absolute demon. And yeah, this is when you're not even married yet. What is she gonna, if she doesn't want the kid there then, how is she gonna treat him for the rest of your relationship when she's just constantly sitting there going like, you're a reminder of his past relationships that I wanted him to leave behind and he wouldn't get rid of you, so now I'm stuck with you. How do you think she's gonna treat him? That poor kid is genuinely gonna suffer at her hands if you don't leave her. Get out of there now. You are not the a-hole, but she is. A-hole doesn't do her evilness justice. Leave her and take your kid with you. But that makes it 3-1 to the not the a-holes. All right, next up. Am I the a-hole for having a dry wedding and serving only water for drinks? I mean, dry wedding is valid, but only water. Okay, so basically my husband and I are getting married later this year. Each of our sides of the family are fairly big. It'll be around 100 to 150 people total. My husband and I are paying for this all ourselves, as well as my grandma who said she doesn't care one way or the other on this issue. She just loves weddings. Who doesn't as well? What a bloody great time. We have a lot of kids in our family, so we decided against making it child-free, but we did decide to make it dry, so there'll be no alcohol of any kind at our wedding. Honestly, this doesn't have anything to do with there being kids there, but due to the fact that my fiancé and I don't drink. Nothing against people who do, it's just not for us and we don't want to. On top of that, we only really drink water. We rarely, if ever, drink soda, so most of the time it's only water with the occasional juice and milk. We don't even drink coffee. Okay, nice for you. What about literally everyone else? So obviously the food, which is a part that my grandma is not paying for, is going to be expensive for that many people. We're having our wedding catered so everyone will have a good choice of food to choose from, but to drink, only water will be provided. We don't want to have to pay for alcohol or soda. It's just a large added expense when we can just do filtered water for a much cheaper cost. Right, I get alcohol being quite expensive for a lot of people, like 100, that would be a lot, but soda for 100 people? What's that? I mean, if everyone drinks half a litre of lemonade or something each, that's 25 2-litre bottles. You can probably pick that up for like 25 to 50 bucks, max. And I mean, relative to the cost of the wedding, that's just got to be like nothing, right? I mean, maybe if it's catered, the catering company would charge a bit more and refrigeration and stuff, but barely. What else are they saying? Well, when family and friends found out about it, they got angry. Some didn't really care, but some are really upset about it, saying that I can just have an open bar so I don't have to pay for drinks. We could, but you still have to pay for the bartender, and we just really don't want to bother with alcohol there. Okay, well, I mean, how much does a bartender cost? Again, not that much relative to a wedding, especially if everyone's paying for their own drinks, and just have a non-alcoholic bar. Get them to make mocktails or something. Or we should at least have soda, because how can we expect everyone to drink only water? The kids will be upset, the wedding will be boring, that's not how weddings work, etc. So am I the a-hole? I didn't think this would be a problem. It's only water. I mean, don't most people drink water every day anyway? Should we pay the extra to have soda to make the family happy? Yes. Yeah, I mean, most people drink water every day anyway. It's your wedding. This is supposed to be like a massive moment, a great celebration. You don't want everyone being like, okay, I'm sipping filtered tap water. I mean, some people might judge it for being a dry wedding. Imagine how hard they're going to judge if it's just water. And okay, maybe you shouldn't care that much about how much people are going to judge it. But you got to care a little bit. You are hosting them. I mean, I feel like even people being like, just soda, like you couldn't have a barman make mocktails for us. Just make something fun, a bit, you know, just like a punch or a virgin sex on the beach or pina colada or something. But that's not even saying like, oh, we're just stuck with just boring lemonade. You're not even giving them lemonade or cola or anything. You're just giving them water. I think that's so weird. It's so unnecessarily boring. I mean, again, your wedding, do what you want, but just know that if you're just going to give everyone just water to drink, they're going to be like, this is kind of lame. And you're within your right to be like, we're only drinking water, and they're in their right to be like, boo. What do the comments say? Okay, well, the top one's from a deleted user, but I know that technically you could be in the right, but here's the thing about weddings. The marriage ceremony is for you and your fiancé. The wedding is for everyone you've invited. It's an event you're hosting, and not providing any drinks other than water makes you a bad host and hostess. I've been to dry weddings. There was a couple that put real thought and effort into designing mocktails themed around their relationship. It was delightful and everyone connected to the couple through it. Another couple had a sparkling cider tower in place of champagne, and everyone cheered with cider and flutes. When you're hosting an event, your job as hostess is to take care of your guests. Just because it follows a marriage ceremony doesn't make you any less the host of an event, and that means providing more than one drink option, especially non-alcoholic. Especially to an event your guests are incurring expenses to attend and bringing gifts to. You are the a-hole, honestly. I fully support a dry wedding, but only water as a beverage is being a cheap host. I would have been way more understanding if they had been like, look, this wedding has costed us so much. We are counting pennies and we just can't afford the extra that it would cost to give everyone soda. We can't do it. I'd be like, of course you're not the a-hole. You don't really have a choice. I don't want you to go into debt over it. But it sounds like you're just going, nah, I don't really want it there. I don't care. It sounds like you can afford it and you're making the active choice not to give everyone soda and you've not given a sufficiently good reason. I hope that in 20 years, everyone is still saying, remember that wedding where we had to smuggle in a 2-litre of Pepsi? Literally, the water-only thing will be what everyone remembers, and that's what you don't want. Haha, I just commented the same thing. Opie is going to spend tens of thousands of dollars on a wedding, and all anyone will remember is that they were a total cheapskate who made everyone drink tap water, as even coffee or tea was considered too luxurious and expensive. Forgot about the coffee and the tea bit as well. A vital thing in the night to keep energy up, to keep people awake, dancing on the dance floor. If you have a meal and not even that as an option, everyone is falling asleep. This wedding is going to be a disaster. You're the a-hole. I don't have anything against dry weddings, but surely you can offer something other than just water. Iced tea, lemonade, something with flavour. When my cousin had a dry wedding, she served sodas. Your guests are not likely to think it's very celebratory if you just serve water. And you'd be surprised by the number of people who never drink water, let alone do it at celebrations. Having punch would be nice and festive too. Punch, tea, Kool-Aid, lemonade, coffee, cider, juice. anything. I mean, I agree with the comments. I think this is pretty obvious a-hole territory. You are the a-hole. Give them at least a soda for pity's sake. And this was 3 years ago, so hopefully the comments help you see the light and you ended up having a dry wedding that was enjoyable for everyone involved. And as big of an arsehole as you are, unfortunately it wasn't enough to mount a full comeback. So we finished today's video with the Not the A-holes 3-2 up. Or at least that's in my opinion. Let me know what you guys got as a score in the comments down below. Hit a like on this video if you enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed it so much that you want to see another one, please do subscribe down below. And hopefully I'll catch you on the next part. Thanks for watching. Bye.